Hi, I'm Ernestine from New York.
And I'm Skip from Oklahoma City.
And this is Hazel from Burbank.
Oh, yeah, she's from Burbank, California. She's a Valley girl.
She's a Valley girl.
And she runs this show. She runs this household.
She runs us.
This is Skip versus Ernestine, refereed by Hazel. We're about to get to all of your questions, all of your comments. We appreciate them. They come from all over the world. You are about to enjoy, we hope, round 26 of Skip versus Ernestine,
26.
a show unlike any other couples show that you will find anywhere, anytime.
We're very real.
So let's get right to it. Our first issue of the day is something that we have kicked around between the two of us, so to speak. I guess it's just Kris Jenner's plastic surgery.
It's in your face.
Okay, it's in your face, and your best friend is a dermatologist,
but she does.
And one of my best friends is a
facial.
Plastic surgeon. So
but
we
my
know
best friend does facial. A lot of focus
facial.
is on facial fillers and.
Okay, so we know a lot about it, but the point is we do our occasional Botox and fillers. She does fillers, I just do Botox.
I do Botox, I do a drop of filler, but not anymore.
All right, so we do that, but we have had no plastic surgery, at least not yet.
Well,
okay.
I'm not getting any, but I'm afraid of dying under anesthesia, so that would be a problem.
That would pretty much eliminate
unless they're
the
going to do
surgery.
a facelift without anesthesia.
Okay, are you resentful?
No, I don't have a problem. I was talking to Francesca about this, my best friend who is the New York City expert. I just am tired of having to see this, why they have to stick their face, whatever it is, face lifts, face everything, in my face. And the funniest thing is I had a best friend for a long time, years ago, who was in the music industry, and she was a big powerhouse in the music industry. She decided to get a facelift, and the funniest thing is back then, which isn't now, when people had facelifts, they didn't want people to know they had facelifts. She was everyone knew her in the industry, in the music industry. Billboard magazine devoted a whole issue to her. She was an agent that represented everyone from Springsteen to Bon Jovi to everybody in the world. She had a facelift, and she said, I don't want people to know. I just want to look as though I had a little bit of a rest over the weekend. But now the world has changed, and everyone has to put in your face what they're having done to their face. And the other day, I told Francesca, we were talking on the phone over the weekend, and the other one that's killing me is Chrissy Teigen, who I think she's really pretty, and I love John Legend. Now she had a hair lift. So what they do is they pull your hair back, and I think they lowered her hair. They lowered her hairline. So she had a receding hairline. So now they lower it. And then the picture that I saw, it was in, I don't know where it was somewhere. Maybe it was on Yahoo. And there was just all the stitches. And I have to look at the stitches on her head. And she's so proud. And then she has a face sling to show that she had this, a chin sling. And I don't know. I think it's just out of control. If you want to have a facelift, which is fine, everybody should do whatever they want to make themselves feel better. But why do you have to shove it in somebody's face? And the weird thing is about Kris Jenner, who I think was attractive before, now she's just trying to become her daughter, Kim. And it's a weird look because she's not Kim, because Kim really isn't Kim anymore. If you go back and you see what Kim looked like in the beginning, when they started the reality show, none of them look the way they did, not because they got older, but because their whole faces have changed. So she's becoming her daughter, which her daughter isn't really her daughter originally.
Okay, so I do like it that more and more women and probably more and more men are embracing the fact that they want to look better.
That's
and
fine.
they're not ashamed of the fact that they use modern medicine to get there.
That's great.
Okay.
But why do you have to keep shoving it in everybody's face that now I had my fifth facelift?
She's a reality TV star. She's a social media giant. She's a powerhouse. It's how they sell themselves. People are interested in them. They become like the first family of social media.
Yes.
And I don't resent them. I'm not jealous of them.
I'm impressed. Tired of it.
I know.
Oh, well, you're impressed.
Well, I'm impressed with the empire that they have built.
Oh, well, that's a whole different
nothing.
can of worms.
That they have no discernible talents, do they? Do they have
No,
any
she
talents?
was married to Robert Kardashian, who was the lawyer
for
during the
OJ,
OJ
yeah.
trial.
Okay.
But what I said,
I mean, does Kim Kardashian have any?
what is she
talents?
an actress? I mean,
No?
she's a wannabe actress, and now she just graduated law school,
Okay.
so she's now
Way to
going
go.
to be a lawyer. But in the beginning, honestly, they were lucky because Ryan Seacrest was the brains behind the operation. I worked with Kris Jenner 1,000 years ago. I told you I represented Bruce Jenner when he did Tropicana ads. That's how long ago it was. But Kris Jenner was his manager. But from there on, it just went out of control, and they became the best well-known reality family ever. Empire.
Okay. So I don't follow it like you do, but I look at Kris Jenner now, just the pictures of her, and I think she's 69.
No, she's much younger than that.
I thought she was 69.
No,
You sure?
no. Maybe she's 65. No, she's not 69.
Okay, whatever.
Mm-mm.
All right.
In her
we should look
60s.
that up. Okay, but whatever she is,
Yeah.
she looks good.
Yeah,
Maybe
she
she's
looks
not
great.
herself, but she's getting. We live near Beverly Hills. We go to Beverly Hills a lot. You go almost every day, and we see facelift disasters
real world.
right
I
and left. We see women who are nightmare victims of
It's
plastic
like the
surgery on
TV
their
show's
face.
botched.
And
There was a TV series
and you can
botched.
see them from a mile away walking on Rodeo or Bedford or
But the
whatever.
problem is, and I was talking to my sister about this yesterday, that for a woman to live in LA, Beverly Hills, it is such a mind trip, because when you go to Beverly Hills, and my sister works in Beverly Hills for an eye doctor, and she works on a street where it's the most famous plastic surgery street. Every office on that street, Bedford, has plastic surgeons, and you see them being wheeled out with the chin straps and the nose guard and everything. But the reality is not reality. What happens is, being a woman, you look at these women and you say, oh my God, what's wrong with me? How come my nose isn't as perfect? How come my cheeks aren't as plumped up? And how come my ass isn't as big? And how come my boobs aren't as big? And so, but that's not reality. That's fake. That's fantasy. So anywhere else in the world, maybe New York, and I'm a New Yorker, it's not that way in New York, and I have spent tons of time in New York. It's not as crazy as it is here. This is the capital, and then maybe Miami is second to this place. But you, as a woman especially, walk in Beverly Hills, and it is so depressing. You start to feel, what's wrong with me? How come I don't look like that? But meanwhile, that's not the normal. That's abnormal.
Okay, but some who get great plastic surgery do look really good.
Well, maybe
and we live
that's
near,
a potluck thing.
We live near Jane Fonda in our complex.
Right. Well, she's had five or six facelifts, and she looks good, and she's 85, 87, whatever, 87.
I saw her in the gym the other day, and I was like, wow, she looks great.
But for someone who's not 87, and if you're just a normal, regular woman, and you live in Beverly Hills, or you live near Beverly Hills, you can't help but feel there's something wrong with you, because you're not looking like that. But again, that is the abnormal, but it becomes the normal. It's like if you ever watched the TV show The Munsters from the 1963, whatever, 65, everybody, it's been in reruns since 1960s. Marilyn, the niece, who was beautiful, they thought she was ugly. But meanwhile, they were freaks.
They're all freaks.
So they say, poor Marilyn, she'll never get a boyfriend. But meanwhile, they're like, they're the weirdest looking bunch.
Yeah.
But that's what happens here.
Mm-hmm.
The women that you look at, they're now the normal, and you're the freak because you don't have all that plastic surgery, and you don't have all the giant fillers, because some of the fillers are as bad as plastic surgery, because the cheeks get plumped, and then the lips are so plumped. So I don't know. I'm just sick of seeing
women with lips that are gigantic, and I'm like, what are you doing?
It's just ridiculous.
Don't you look in the mirror and say, I'm a disaster?
No, because the doctors want to make the money, so they will tell the patient, "You look incredible."
Okay.
That's great.
It works.
And so that's why they walk around, because, as my best friend Francesca, who knows because she's in that world, she says she will not do. There are 18-year-old girls that come to her and they want filler in their lips, and she will not give them what they want, and they leave because she says, I'm not going to be responsible for making that girl look that way. I'm just not going to do it. And they come back to her, you didn't put enough in. She's like, I put in what I thought you're going to look normal and good. They don't want to hear it. So, and there are plenty of doctors out there that will give them what they want. But
Okay.
why we have to live with it in our face is
I've never
ridiculous.
asked you this.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you
want a
want
boob job?
ultimately a
Oh.
boob job
Are you
or
kidding
or a
A facelift?
Pl-
I just told you
facelift.
I'm scared of anesthesia.
I know.
How would I get a boob? First of all,
well,
I
if
don't
you
really
got
care about
desperate
it.
enough and you said,
I
okay,
would
I got to
never,
compete. I got to
ever,
keep up.
Never in my entire life would
Okay.
I ever get a boob job,
I'm happy that you
a
say
nose
that.
job.
Thank
I
you.
don't have a perfect nose. My nose is not small, but it is what it is.
It looks
and
good. It
well,
gives you character.
It fits my face.
It fits
what
your
can
face.
I do?
It does.
And what can you do? But people don't put up with that, and they say, well, I'm not as attractive, and I need every single part of my body redone.
I'm not just saying this, but you look really, really good, quote unquote, for your age.
Oh,
but,
God, I
but,
better get a facelift right
no,
now.
but I'm saying you're not 24.
No, I'm not.
But you look really good.
Well,
you look
thanks.
very
I
young,
appreciate it.
and you don't need anything more than what you do. But you do some things.
Yeah,
you
I do
get
Botox.
and some filler.
But I don't. Yeah, but the filler I get, it's only because I'm very thin, and so
Okay,
when
well,
I'm
that's
thin,
fine. Okay.
my face hollows out. But I don't right now. I don't have really any filler left in my face. I had it done like a year ago, but that
Okay.
was the last time. But it's just to make me not look like I'm gaunt in my cheeks.
Okay, so you're taking advantage of the breakthroughs in facial enhancement. or
Yeah,
whatever,
and
yeah?
I used to get my lip. This was
Yeah.
before anybody did lips because Francesca's my best friend, and my bottom lip is thinner than my top lip, so she would put it in, or she put in my top lip. I can't remember which one she did, but she would put the filler in, and I never got it where it looked like filler. But the problem with me is my metabolism is so fast
Yep.
that it would eat up whatever she put in. The next week it would be out. So she'd say to me, "I never saw somebody whose lip filler goes away so fast." So, and I would just do it just to even out my lip, not to make them like that. So I give it up. I don't put it on. I have thin lips, and it is what it is. So
Okay. So my only experience with boob job came when I was dating a woman. This is a long time ago, back in my Dallas days, my Dallas radio days. And she decided as we were dating that she didn't like her breasts, that they weren't, she wasn't flat chested, but she was small chested. And she said, I want to get a boob job.
good for her.
Okay. Whatever you think, I'll support. And she got one. And she
It
got
made her happy.
for a little while, but I don't think she was ultimately happy because to carry those around is
Well,
some
it depends
work.
on what you get. I mean,
You know.
that's why some women they're born with big boobs, and they have to get it taken down, a reduction, because my mother had big boobs,
She
and her
did.
whole life she would say to me, I mean, I don't have to wear a bra. I don't care. I like going every day without a bra because I don't want to have to wear a bra. But my mother would have indentations on her shoulders
Yep.
from the bra that she wore for 70 years because she was so big she had to wear a bra. Me, I throw on a t-shirt, whatever. I don't need a bra. So that to me, I'm happy about that.
So why didn't you get your mother's boobs?
Because not everything is genetic,
Genetically transferable.
But what can you do? And I don't really care about that. But what will happen with Kris Jenner, I think.
Okay, so before we leave behind my boob job
back
story.
to your girlfriend's boobs.
Okay, this is just me.
Yeah.
But I didn't ever like the touch and feel of the boob job boobs because
Well, it's fake.
they're fake and they're rubbery and they're it was more of a turn off than a turn on.
I mean,
So
some
they
women,
look good in your clothes, but
except
they don't.
when you show that they look like two balls or melons
Well,
put
that-
on you,
that's
but that's
terrible. Yeah, I
ridiculous. That's
agree.
when
I
women go
agree.
overboard.
Yeah.
If you want to get a little boob job, whatever makes you happy. But I think, again, with Kris, what will happen is the media, the big buzz over the last week in New York especially was who was the doctor that did Kris Jenner's face. So Francesca told me who the doctor was because she knew. But now, once that settles down, what happens with the media and what happens with everyone, they will start, now they're going to say, you know what, it doesn't really look that good. Now they'll start ripping her because it's the immediate, oh my God, look at who did that. Oh, you have to find who the plastic surgeon is. Then give it a couple of weeks and then it'll be the reverse, because that's what they do.
The other thing, I've had several female friends in my profession who've gone over the edge, off the deep end, into plastic surgery all over their bodies to the point I don't even know who they are anymore.
Well, that's
I
scary.
can't recognize them.
Yeah, that is really.
What are you doing?
Very.
Then you're just addicted to I gotta get better and better and better.
But some of your friends were in their 30s starting out, and then they become a
But
different
where
person.
Where do you stop? When do you stop?
Well, that's the problem.
Because the aging will never stop.
You
no
can't
matter
stop
what you
getting
do.
old,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. And you can go, and then eventually
can't
you're
have
having
a
your
doctor
10th
remove
facelift.
your aging. No
You
doctor
can't.
is capable of removing aging.
My mother had
the
a great
process.
line, because my mother never had anything done, but my mother would always say, you can get as much plastic surgery on the outside, but inside your body knows how old you really are. And that's the truth, because you can't change the inside of your body, no matter
And
what.
as cliched as this sounds, in the end, all that really matters is your heart. And I'm talking
your
about
health.
No, I'm not talking about your health. Your spiritual heart. You know what you're made of, as far as a relationship goes, is all that matters in the end. And I know sexual attraction matters at first glance and all that, and it helps to present yourself as best you can. I got no problem with that. But in the end, that's all surface fake.
Well, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Because after a while, that goes away, and you have to deal with the real person behind the plastic surgery. But again, I don't care what people get. I really don't. If that makes you feel good and you have your whole body redone. But now with celebrityism, they have to shove it in your face, and you have to accept that that's the topic. So we had to discuss the topic. That was the topic all over the country.
Now we let you chime in. Oh, by the way, before we leave this behind, Kris Jenner is so big that now, with her new face, she's the star of a commercial that I repeatedly see during sports events, which is Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt. Oh, God. And I don't really get the point of the commercial. Now I can't even remember what the commercial is. Oh, it's for Meta. It's for Meta.
3 Chris's.
3 Chris's is a good point. And Kris Jenner sort of brings down the curtain at the end when she says, Meta, call my lawyer.
Oh,
because they've screwed up the art in her mansion or whatever. There's some banana and they eat the art. They eat the banana. Whatever. But that's how big she has become. She is the star of that commercial with two. Wouldn't you say those two guys are pretty big stars?
I'm surprised the daughters didn't date them.
Well, maybe they will starting now.
Oh, they're not athletes. They're actors.
No, that's true. Okay.
Sorry.
Weighing in is at Nup Sandcastle, who says, oh, we're going off on another subject here. It's close, though. I highly doubt Chalamet is going to want to be with a Kardashian/Jenner clan long term.
I told that to Francesca yesterday. I never heard that term.
Kardashian.
Wow.
Says Nup Sandcastle. He's A-list. He doesn't need a reality TV baby mama.
I agree with him. Totally. I agree.
All right.
I agree.
Bingo.
It kind of degrades him.
Touche.
I think he's just too better than that.
And Michael
Cuejas,
3102. These are from YouTube. Skip, your awesome wife is right. I'm one of them who are tired of hearing the Kardashian bull. LOL. Nothing but drama.
Right on, Michael. Right on. I'm so with you.
Whew.
So with you.
I'm right there also. I don't mind looking at them, though. Well, I still think Kim is sexy looking. Well, I don't know. Does she even... What does she look like now compared to what she originally looked like?
You should look.
Can you even identify her anymore? Okay.
It's a different family. The whole family's a different family.
Okay.
Even Bruce is a different.
Okay, so speaking of, another conflict that we've suffered through of late is that a couple that we have socialized with quite a bit over the last 4 years, just split up. And then the question becomes, are you team her or team him? And it's a hard conflict to resolve, right?
Yeah.
So how do you resolve it? Your team, I think we're both team
him more
but
than her, but I like her a lot. And
So
so
do I.
now it's hard. And I see them both in Beverly Hills, but I don't talk about each other to each other. So where before it used to be like, hey, when are we all going to go out?
Yeah.
And now we don't do that anymore because
Yeah.
now we're not going to go out. And then I think one of them has a new beau. So I don't know. It's very hard.
I
And
think
then
they
I
both
just,
kind of do.
yeah, I don't, it's sad, but
What struck me was my relationship with him was actually based on my relationship with them. Like it was
As a
a
couple.
them relationship, and all we
Yeah.
ever talked about was her
Yeah.
when I was with him.
right.
And
Because he
all
was
of a
in love
sudden,
with her
yeah, oh God, like
madly.
madly, crazily, irrationally,
Infatuated.
yeah,
Yeah.
infatuated, in lust, in love, and all those things rolled
Right.
into one. And all of a sudden, it didn't work. She's a lot younger,
Yeah.
and she wanted to sort of see the world, maybe sow a few oats, or however. Usually it's the
Yeah, I don't
guy,
know,
but she's so much younger. Whatever. We tried to sort of stay on the fringe of it, but then you get sucked into the middle of it, and then you have to pick a side, and
Yeah.
it has damaged our relationship.
Well, I don't feel like
with
when
both.
I see him, I think he thinks that I'm very close to her, but
Yeah.
I'm not very close to her. So he acts differently towards me. So in the end, I think we're probably going to lose out on both him and her. Excuse me.
Hey,
Excuse
you,
me.
as you say, get a room.
Get a room. I think we're going to lose out on both their
Yeah.
friendships because it's
It's
just too
feeling
hard.
like
yeah, they're kind of
It
drifting
went a little
away.
south for
Kind of
us.
sad.
Yeah, it was.
They were nice together.
All right, something that has been nice for us is Omaha Steaks. If
Oh,
we may
yeah.
make a quick left turn.
They were good for barbecuing.
Hey,
And
I
the
don't know how
chicken.
many times over the years that Ernestine and I have sent gifts, Christmas
Omaha
gifts,
Steaks,
birthday
that's
gifts,
Sirloin
get well
burgers.
gifts,
Yeah,
thank you gifts to friends all over the country.
is
And I
true.
can't tell you how many times said friends, the giftees,
they send us the pictures of
Yeah.
the barbecue
they
with the
text
steaks.
back, we're barbecuing or we're
So
savoring.
crazy. And my mother,
Oh,
my mother, every holiday, my mother would, I need to get the Omaha Steaks. So she would send them for Christmas to friends. So
yeah. So if you want, you can gift yourself with Omaha Steaks. If you want the best steak
they're
experience
great.
in the world,
And they
it's
come to
Omaha
your door. It's
Steaks.
so good. You don't even have to go
You
to
can
a
visit
grocery.
omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their
That's good.
Memorial Day sale going on, obviously, right now. And for an extra $35 off, you can use the promo code SKIP at checkout.
that's really good.
SKIP at
Hazel.
checkout for $35 off. That's omahasteaks.com. See site for details.
Okay, Hazel, you have to just cool it
Okay,
and sit
so
down.
we're at the mall with Hazel the other day. Dog parade.
Yeah, dog.
Hazel standoffish, doesn't like other dogs. But everybody loves her from a distance, but everybody loves her. She is the mayor of the mall. She is someone who, she remarked to me as we were going down the escalator, because everybody coming up the escalator would smile or wave to Ernestine for no
'Cause I
reason.
have I don't know. I have a vibe that I give off.
She has a vibe, and it came from her mother, Evelyn.
Right.
And she not only inherited it, she enhanced it. And wherever she goes, she just takes over. She lights up rooms, she lights up escalators.
People talk to me.
Okay? People just gush to her,
they just say hello.
who don't know her.
No.
And I've never seen anything quite
But
like
the
it.
difference is they don't do it with you.
They don't do it.
You throw off a vibe that's very standoffish.
Yeah.
Your vibe is don't even think about coming up to me, except if somebody comes up to you and says, "Oh my God, Skip Bayless, I'm a big fan." Blah 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 blah. That's different. But if you would
I
never
wear a do not approach sign on my
well,
face.
You do, and I think that comes from I don't know your mother somehow.
Oh.
But your mother was
Look,
your mother. I don't know. Your mother wanted to be liked.
loved.
Yeah, your mother wanted to be loved.
Well, I mean, the truth is, you're a lot like my mother.
Oh, God,
She's a
no.
well, but in charisma.
Well,
I mean,
maybe, but
wherever
she
my
was a
mother
little bit
went,
more- she
whatever
was
mall
phony.
she walked
Yeah,
through,
yeah.
everybody she's saying hi to everybody else.
Yeah, but your mother was phony. I'm not phony.
That's true. I
so
will
your
buy
mother
that.
had an agenda. She
got
wanted
it.
people to say how wonderful
Agreed.
she was. I don't care if people say how wonderful.
No.
I'm nice to people, and I I help people. They're lost in the mall. I tell them where they need to go if they're looking for a store because I know the mall so well. but people
I know.
people see that I'm approachable.
Yeah.
You not approachable.
Okay. But why is that? In the
I don't
end,
know, 'cause
it's
you got
because
issues.
no, I don't. Well, I do have issues, but
You
that's
have
not one.
major issues.
When they do approach me, I come out of my shell, and I'm very good to people who approach me.
Yeah, but it's hard to get. But
Okay.
you're like you have
All
this wooden exterior, and
Okay.
don't even look at me. Like if we were on the escalator and somebody is saying, "Gosh, I don't know where that store is, or is there a good place to eat in here?" If I hear that, I would say, "Oh, I can tell you a couple of places to eat."
Okay.
Now you would know some places because you've walked through the mall, but
Yeah,
you would
but-
never say, "Hey, I know some places." You would tune it out and just keep walking.
Okay, here's the issue.
Yeah.
Obviously, I do get recognized.
Yeah.
When I was without you the other day in Beverly Hills, I had to meet some people for lunch. I was getting recognized right and left.
Well, that's the whole
Okay.
part of
All
who
right.
you are. It is what it is.
And
it's when they don't recognize you is that
Okay.
when you have a problem, as
but
Milton Berle
when
said.
I'm with you, you somewhat resent that if somebody approaches me, I'm going to spend 10 minutes talking to them
are you
about
insa-
LeBron
I don't-
James
Are you
or
like
the
with
Dallas
somebody else? I
Cowboys.
don't think you're with me. I'm the one that's always saying to somebody when I
Because you're going to have
pass.
to wait for
No,
10 minutes.
I never have a problem with any of that. That is the
False.
biggest lie ever in the world. Are you kidding me? Wherever we walk, if we're walking
You
on
roll
the street,
your eyes. You got to take
Are
Hazel.
you-
You got to stand over there
are
for
you?
a while.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I
I'm
don't know
not.
how your nose isn't bigger than what it is because you are so
I'm telling the
lying.
truth.
You are so lying. I'm the one that if somebody comes out, I hear them from a distance. Oh, Skip Bayless, and I say to you, that kid recognized you, and then I say, why don't you say hi to them? And then I say, I'll take Hazel. That is the God's honest truth. I should win a lottery today. I'm going to buy a lottery ticket because that's the truth. You are like, I don't have time. That's you. That's you. So that is the truth.
Since your last name is Sclafani Italian,
Yeah.
Pinocchio goes with it.
Yeah,
It's
no.
Pinocchio Sclafani.
No, you are. That is the biggest fabrication I have ever heard
Total
in
lie.
my life.
She hates it.
I am telling the truth beyond the truth. I'm the one that says, here, I'll take the selfie of you guys. Come on. The guy's saying, would you mind if I take a selfie? I always say to the
You're
guy,
like, okay.
oh, I
Okay.
cannot. Oh my God.
Okay.
I cannot believe that you are even saying that because the truth is, I always
right,
say to
so-
whoever it is, hey, I'll take the picture of you
I'm
guys.
going to take the do not disturb sign off my face at the mall next Saturday.
That's what you
and
need
I'm
to
going to
do.
welcome all comers.
That's what you
Because a
should
lot
do.
of people do walk by and I can see them say,
And I say, hey, why don't you go over and say hi? And then you're like, so
I'm
please.
just trying to protect you and Hazel.
Protect me. You better get off that
but
excuse
Hazel
because
doesn't
I
like
don't
people
care.
and she wants to
Remember
eat them.
I'm publicist. Remember me, PR.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what promotion. I would
Yeah.
have you sitting in the middle of the mall with a sign that says, "Come here, I'll sign autographs." If it was up to me, that's the truth.
Agree to disagree.
Right. Mm-hmm. San Diego. Yeah.
I was thinking the same
Yeah.
thing.
Uh-huh.
Anchorman.
Yeah.
By the way, the other thing that sticks in my craw, we're at the mall and you're trying to calm down Hazel and you give her like 7 treats in a row.
Well, how else?
And
how
I'm
else
like,
to
if I did that, if I gave her 3 treats, you'd say, how dare you? You're going to kill
Are you
that poor
kidding me?
dog.
Well, you are oblivious if we're sitting there and you're oblivious. You're looking at the golf
I'm
game.
watching golf.
Yeah, you're watching
It's
the
called
golf.
golf on television.
Right, on Saturday. You're looking and there you got basketball on. And
Yeah.
around us, it's like a shark infestation. There's a guy and a girl next to us that she's flipping out. There's a little kid that's going, oh,
That
hey, look
Hazel
at
wants
the
to-
dolly. Oh, no, it's not a doll. Don't come near her. So I have to come with a treat bag to just keep handing them into her face to shut her up because she's about to go crazy. And I go, did you see that guy? No, what guy? So
Because I got a hold of her. I can put
Oh,
blinders on.
Are you
I can
kidding
just put
me?
my hand
Yeah,
over
and then
her
I say to
eyes.
you, look at the person. I didn't see that person. And she almost takes the person's
I got
arm
it.
off if
I'm
the
in
person's
control.
walking close.
Yeah, I got her. She is a psycho,
Okay.
but I love
Well,
her. I don't know.
We better stop going to
Treats.
that mall. It's got
This
too
is
many
from
issues.
Patton from Chicago, Illinois. I had this thought when watching last week's episode and talking about wanting to see the new Mission
Me
Impossible.
too.
We haven't seen it yet.
can't get tickets. It's sold out 24 hours a day.
Question from Patton from Chicago. Is Tom Cruise the greatest movie star ever?
I know, I'm beginning
Okay,
to think.
let's define. We did our list of top actors ever,
Yeah.
top female
I
actors
have the
ever.
list here.
But now we're talking about movie star. Is he
Yeah.
the biggest sort of box office star
The more
ever
I
there
thought
was?
about it last night,
Yeah.
I think there's a chance, barring from old days that, of course, I love old movies, Cary Grant and all of that, but back in the days, they didn't have big box office like now.
Okay.
Memorial Day, 4th of July, you're used to getting the big movies that come out in the theater. When we looked at all of these movies, it's mind-blowing how many Tom Cruise, they're amazing. I mean, starting from the 80s Taps, and then Outsiders, Risky Business.
Well, The Outsiders, he was
I mean,
one of like 12 breakout stars.
Legend, Top Gun, Color of Money, right? Then
That's
you go
the remake
into
of The Hustler, which was a top 5 for me.
Then you go into Cocktail, Rain Man, Born on the 4th of July, Days of Thunder, Few Good Men, The Firm, Interview with the Vampire, Mission Impossible 1, Jerry Maguire, Eyes Wide Shut, Mission Impossible 2, Kubrick, A Life in Pictures, Minority Report, Austin Powers, he was in that, The Last Samurai, Collateral, Mission Impossible 3, okay. Then Tropic Thunder, which was one
Thunder.
of, oh
Well,
my
he
God.
had a cameo,
yeah,
but he took it
took
over.
that movie over. Valkyrie, Night and Day, Mission Impossible, and then we go into, that's bringing us into mid-2000s. Then we go Jack Reacher, which was incredible.
Before the Reacher
Before
TV
the series.
yeah.
Mission Impossible again, Jack Reacher again, The Mummy, which was great, American Made, Mission Impossible, Fallout, Top Gun, Mission Impossible,
Maverick was the
Maverick,
second one,
Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Final Reckoning, and he's got a
Okay.
new movie, 2026 already.
Untitled.
TBA, yeah. I mean,
Okay, so
How
I've
can you
always
not
thought
say he's a movie
Stallone
star?
was a big movie
Yeah, but I
star,
think if
but
you-
I think
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise is more likable than Stallone,
And he's
right?
he's just like the old Hollywood
He
movie
is.
stars.
And he hasn't really aged.
He
let's
looks
just say
amazing.
He's aged well.
He looks
Right?
incredible. And he does his own stunts, which is incredible. And I know people that worked with him on movie sets, and they said he's the nicest guy. He takes care of everyone on the movie set. He makes sure that everybody is, they're not in harm's way of whatever they're doing, and, you know, stunts, and just what could you ask for? Minus his crazy Scientology, but that's his stuff off the screen.
I don't care.
But
I mean,
as an
whatever
actor,
do you have to rank him, grade him?
I'd put him
just
up there.
on what's up on the silver
Yeah.
screen. And he is
He is movie star,
the
big
biggest
box.
movie star ever, but he's not in my top 5 as an actor.
No.
He doesn't, he makes movies more than he makes films, right?
Yeah, but he definitely, when you look at what he's done, it's mind-blowing.
And we will see
I can't
the
wait. I
next
want to see
Mission
it this
Impossible.
week.
Okay.
Maybe like 11 o'clock in the morning. or
Okay, this
something.
is at Showtime-JB3, I hope I'm reading this right, IS. Skip and Ernestine, my girlfriend and I's favorite thing to do is movie night on the couch,
Yep.
going to the theater, much like you two. Seems we all agree that Denzel is one of the greatest actors of all time.
Yep.
Definitely my top 5.
You were 5.
I don't think he was in yours, but
No, he's
whatever.
not.
What films would you rank as his best 5? I'll go first, and keep in mind these are just my personal favorites. And this is Showtime JB. He goes number 1, Training
That's
Day,
you.
which was my number
That's
1.
yours.
And then he goes Remember the Titans,
Yeah.
American Gangster, Flight, and Fences. And I go Training Day number 1, just because he played so against type.
Right. No, you love that
He
movie.
played a bad MF.
Yeah.
man.
No, you love
But
that
he
movie.
brought him to life and won the Academy Award.
Yeah.
I'm going Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Then I'm going American Gangster. Then
Yeah.
I'm going any Equalizer.
He was great
listen.
in The Equalizer.
3 was as
Yeah.
good as 1.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Oh, he was
is
great.
the Equalizer. I'm
Equalizer
sorry,
was
and I know
great.
they're escapist. They're Mission Impossible-esque movies.
Well, they're
but,
actually a remake of a series.
well, I know, but they're just
Yeah, he's
great.
amazing.
He
But
is
yeah.
so strong. And then I got to throw in He Got Game.
Yeah.
Jesus, Shuttleworth was obviously Ray Allen, but also I love Man on Fire. That's my 6th pick, and it's more of a movie than a film. But
Yeah.
but listen, those are my 5.
I
and
like
I
Book
get
of
it.
Eli.
Yeah, I know everybody puts Remember the Titans in. This is just me, and I've told you from the
Yeah.
start. I'm not a sports movie buff because the real thing is always better.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been watching these NBA playoffs. Every night somebody comes from 20 down. The Knicks come
Yeah.
from 20 down, and they've done it 3 times on the road. And you just say, how's that possible?
Oh.
Well, that's reality TV to me. So I don't really need Remember the Titans or Bull Durham or any of the things you want to throw out there that were sports movies, except for Caddyshack because it's a parody of golf.
But you do like Bull Durham.
I like it.
Not
Okay.
Bull Durham, the other one, Tin Cup.
Oh, Tin
You
Cup. I
love
do
Tin
like
Cup.
Tin Cup. They got golf.
Yeah.
And it was a good story, well done. I think I like her. I love Kevin
she's gorgeous,
Costner in
Renee
that.
Russo.
Whew.
Oh, one of the most beautiful women in the world.
Oh, she is
gorgeous.
hot to trot in that.
She's still beautiful.
And by the way, we just finished, I guess it's season 1 or the only season so far of The Residence on Netflix.
So good.
It's on Netflix,
yeah.
right? Yeah. And listen,
that was a pleasant surprise.
Highly recommend it. I'm surprised it hasn't gotten enough early buzz because Uzo Aduba is just she just takes it over.
Giancarlo Esposito.
He was, and from the past.
From the past.
I'm a big Sherlock Holmes, Hercule Poirot, Marple guy.
Yeah, me too.
Poirot, Marple, more than Sherlock, but she is the modern day Sherlock.
Yeah.
She is a powerhouse.
Yeah, she is great.
Of a sleuth, of a detective. And this was extremely well written. It does have a kind of comedic undertone.
Oh, it does. It has a little bit tongue-in-cheek.
And it gets a little zany sometimes.
But it's really...
where the Sherlock Holmeses are not zany or comedic at all. They're real. But now we're feeding Hazel again. More treats.
Gotta go sit down.
But the point is, I highly recommend it, and you should. It needs more buzz than it got.
Yeah, I think it'll be.
Maybe I'm missing the buzz.
I'm sure it'll get picked up for a second season, but they just have to come up with a new murder. It's like Murders in the Building.
This was set in the White House, so it's going to be hard to come up with the second season because you're going to have to set
Not
it
in the White
somewhere
House.
else.
I don't
you
think
can't
it would
do
have
it in
to
the
be
White
in the
House.
White House.
Again.
No.
I don't think. I mean, I guess you could trick it up.
But it just was.
Contrive it.
Was
but
good.
Then we saw the final episode of The Studio, which we also loved. And we've read a lot about the beauty.
They got picked up for the second season.
But now they can actually cast real stars into their fictional plots.
But it's all they've had a lot of good cameo people.
They did, starting with
Scorsese, Charlize Theron, Steve Buscemi.
Yeah. And yet
Ron Howard.
They're openly campaigning for Daniel Day-Lewis, for Leo DiCaprio, for Pacino to actually do another Scarface within the episode.
That would be great. Oh my God.
Yeah. Say hello to my little friend. He could scream that line out. He could still do that.
They could do so much.
And yet, by the way, last quick thought before we move on. We love Alfred Hitchcock. I did not put him in my top 5 directors. I don't think you did. No, you did. You?
I thought you did.
I didn't. I had him 6th. But we ran across a Hitchcock film that we had not seen called Shadow of a Doubt.
That was good.
And it was good, but then I'm reading about it. I didn't know this. He always said that's his favorite film he ever did. Shadow of a Doubt with Joseph Cotton. So we watched it the other night because we said, well, if he said it's his favorite, we got to watch this. And what's weird about this was made in 1943. It just feels to me like everybody's acting in it, like it's a stage play where they're reading their lines.
It could have been a play.
It could have been a play.
But it definitely, to me, it was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
It's about a potential serial killer who comes to live with a family.
The uncle. He's the uncle.
Yeah. They
don't know whether or not he's the crazy person. But if he thinks that was one of his favorite movies, I don't know how, because there's so many. The Birds, North by Northwest, Strangers on a Train, Vertigo,
Psycho,
Rear Window.
Rear Window.
I mean,
is my favorite.
those are so. If you don't watch
they're
Hitchcock,
all better
you gotta
than this.
watch Hitchcock movies.
Didn't get it. Next question, Paul from Stillwater, Oklahoma. Favorite town of mine.
No wonder you put that on there.
Well, I went there. I played Karsten Creek, where Oklahoma State golf plays. Was there ever a moment in either of your lives where you envisioned yourself having a child? Huh. Wow, that's one of the best questions we've ever gotten on this show.
I never wanted to have kids. I remember being 13 years old and just, to me, I always thought,
you got a kid right here.
yeah, that's a kid and that's a kid. But to me,
True, 2 kids.
I always thought that a child was something that it's not a burden, but you can't. My whole thing in my life, maybe because my mother and father started having bad marital problems after when I was 13 and going on, but I always wanted to be able to pick up my handbag and walk out the door and be free. And I always thought if I had a child, I could never do that.
True.
And so all my friends wanted to have kids. They wanted to get married. They wanted to, go to school, get married, have a kid. And me, I always wanted to move to New York and be that girl and be in fashion. I never wanted to have a kid, and that's what I did. But I don't know. But then I always think, well, I don't have a kid, so who's going to take care of me when I get really old? And then my mother, I can hear saying in my head, just because you have a child doesn't mean that they're going to take care of you. You're lucky if you have a child that will take care of you, because it's not a built-in automatic. And people have kids so they can get they're taken care of. But how many kids put their parents in old age homes?
I know.
And
we
forget
just
about them.
experienced that here.
Yeah.
Not once did I ever second guess my deepest instinct to not have children.
But you had a different reason for not having kids.
Okay, my father was such a bad
Right,
guy.
you didn't like
I
your
knew
father.
from when I was 13, I'm not going to repeat this cycle. I'm not going to have a child, potential son or daughter, and then slowly but surely turn into my father. I'm going to break the chain. I'm going to stop the
But
cycle.
you weren't going to have to turn into your father. You have a choice of not being your
but
father.
what if you don't? What if it's genetically predisposed that you just start behaving the way he behaved because you can't help yourself? So
Yeah,
I
I
said,
guess.
I'm going to stop this. And maybe the major reason we are together is that we found right away neither of
We
us
want
want children.
kids.
Because if you did,
Yeah,
I've been
if you're
through
with
that
somebody
before,
and they want to have
it's
a kid.
a deal breaker. Especially if a woman wants a child or multiple children and the man doesn't, deal breaker.
Yeah, that's
Will
not
not
good.
work, will never work, because she can't sacrifice that as much as she might say she loves him. As her biological clock ticks, she will come to resent him and maybe
you've had it with your
ultimately
friend.
hate him.
With your friend who's no longer with us, who passed away, he gave in to her having kids, and then he ended up cheating on her, and it was horrible. And then she ended up killing herself because it was such a bad relationship. And
it's just horrible. It started because she was much younger. He couldn't live without her, and she said, I can't live without children. And he said, I can't do this, because he already had 2 from a previous marriage who were by then in high school. Right. And he said, I can't start this process over. And he finally ultimately caved in.
Had 2 kids.
2 kids with her.
Twins.
And then she caved in because he predictably started
cheating and drinking, and then she blew her brains out.
And she was having trouble with alcohol.
Story.
It was a terrible story.
Yeah. But
the
I don't mind
truth is,
people
I
that
think
want to have
neither of
kids.
us ever even thought about it, and we definitely never talked about having children,
No,
except
it
not
was a big
having
deal
children.
of having her, Hazel.
This is Mo from Philadelphia, who says, you always start the show with mentioning where you're from. How much do you think hometowns morphed who you are today? How different do you think your morals and beliefs would be if you grew up someplace else? We've touched on this as far as the families we were born into.
And where you're born.
But we didn't get deeply into the where. But I always ask you, when you meet somebody new, where are they from?
You interrogate people of where they're from.
I just need to know, because it establishes in your first maybe 8 years on this planet who you are. It's how you're raised, by which parents, in what city, what locale,
but you also care where they went to school.
I do, but
I never care. I don't ask people. I have friends that I still don't even know what their religion is after 20 years. I don't care.
Then how deep is that relationship?
It is deep. I don't need to know if they're Catholic or whatever. It don't matter to me.
Okay, so it's just, how's the weather?
No, it's called life, but I don't care.
Just like
but anyway,
talk.
We're getting away from
Well, so to me, I'm born and raised my first 18 years in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Bible Belt. Methodist church, then Baptist church. Yeah, it imprinted me.
Yeah.
It made me who I am. Alcoholic parents made me who I am in a good way, actually.
Yeah.
They forced me to become who I am. You're Long Island, you're New York, you're Manhattan.
Well, for 18, I mean, I moved to New York when I was
Yeah.
18,
18.
New York City. I mean, because
Yeah.
I lived 2 hours out on the eastern part of Long Island,
But what a volatile mix. You got Jewish mother,
Yeah.
Italian Catholic father.
a lot of guilt, a lot of eating on the weekends. Sunday was a big food day. When you're Italian and you're Jewish, that's what you do. You eat a lot of food, and then you have a lot of guilt from the Jewish everything. I'm guilty for everything. My sister even says to me today, "Stop being so guilty over things, whatever." But living in New York City changed me because I don't. When you live in New York, everything is around you. Everything is around you, and you also become blasé to things. And things don't rattle me as much. Like living here in LA, there's homeless people all over the place because it's become a very big thing. Homeless people here. I lived in New York my whole life. Homeless was part of New York. It still is. My sister, who moved out here when I moved out here, she freaks out when she sees somebody who's homeless on the street or some kind of, someone looks a little whacked and they're a little not there. I know how to deal with it. I know how to walk by, and because she lived on Long Island, so it wasn't the same kind of atmosphere. When you live in New York City, every day you go through, I got home and I made it, and it's a good thing. It's like every day, it's a survival course in New York City, whether or not in the summer it's boiling hot and it's humid and people are on the sidewalks, and I lived through electricity going out in New York City, blackouts. I've lived through 9/11 in New York City. So when you live through all of that, I can live anywhere and be okay in the sense of knowing how to deal with it.
Agreed.
Except for earthquakes out here, another nightmare, crazy thing. That's the only thing we don't have in New York City. But that's
and I
what
grew up
think.
in Tornado
And
Alley.
grew up in tornadoes.
Yeah. Okay, this is Jake from Palm Springs. Love Palm Springs.
Yeah, Palm Springs were great.
A theme for the show has always been therapy without the therapist. It has been from the start. Have you ever thought about therapy? If you have, why didn't you go? Or if you never thought about going to therapy, why didn't you go to therapy?
I'd go to therapy. I don't have a problem. I'd go to a therapist. I'd go to a relationship therapist. I'd go to a regular therapist. You wouldn't go. You have a problem against therapy. I don't. I think therapy is good for people.
So, with previous girlfriends back in my Dallas days, I twice went to three times with three different girls I was dating.
3 different women could get you to go to therapy. And me, I've been with you the longest, and you won't go to therapy.
I went, and I never loved it because you were paying a lot of money for a listener, and they would just sort of listen, but they wouldn't offer much to me to reshape me.
But you can't tell after one time. I mean, people go for years, and then they have a breakthrough. You would have to go multiple times. Consider
I guess so. Okay. I'm more spiritual than you are. Maybe not spiritual, but more religious.
I'm very spiritual. You're religious.
I'm a
spiritual.
Bible reader, churchgoer.
You're a Bible reader.
And a prayer.
I'm
and
not.
I believe that prayer solves everything for me.
Okay.
Prayer is my therapy.
Okay.
Prayer, you can call it meditation or whatever you want to call it, but that's what gets me through the darkest nights.
Okay.
And I do believe in a higher power, and I believe in God's plan, and I believe you have to have ultimate faith that He will not push you over the cliff. And so that's my therapy, is my prayer. And
well, I don't know about that. I mean, I believe I'm very spiritual, and I believe in a higher power somewhere, but I don't believe that, I believe in a God of some sort, but I don't know if God's going to take care of all of my problems. I just give them to Him, and that will solve everything. Sometimes you have to push it along the way somewhere, like fate. You can say, I'm just going to leave things up to fate. Well, sometimes you have to push it a little bit to get in the right direction with the fate, don't you think? No?
It's free will versus God's plan. Is there a plan for you? Yes. if you have faith in that plan, God will show you. He will direct you. He will open the right doors for
Well, what
you.
happens when that never happens? So then you should just sit
It
back
just
and
will.
just say,
Well, it always has. God has never let me down.
okay.
And I've been through some dark times, but
I guess that's what makes everybody different.
this is from at SS-OF2GR. Wait, Ernestine has never met your brother?
No.
I mean, I understand you don't have anything in common other than it's your brother. Gosh, I wish you all would reunite. Well,
I've always told you, why don't you call your brother? Why don't you call your brother?
yeah.
I still say, hey, why don't you call your brother? Even though he's a wacko and he doesn't want to call or whatever, but I don't know.
I don't know. It was such a troubled relationship because of our parents from day one that I'm fine talking to him, and I did not too long
Right,
ago.
your mother's
He called
memorial.
because of the fires out here in
because of
LA,
the fires, yeah.
just to check in, which was great. And I said I'm going to keep in touch, and then I haven't. It's just such sibling rivalry. We came from nowhere, from this little 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house on 43rd Street in Oklahoma City. He's become a wildly successful chef and restaurateur in Chicago. Won the James Beard Award for both, which is extraordinary.
No, I mean, he's a very well-known chef.
He's very well known. Lots of cookbooks, lots of TV appearances
shows.
and shows.
He's got his own shows.
And yet there's some weird rivalry there that is a conflict that is destructive to the rapport of the relationship. I can't explain. I don't know. I'm proud of him. I pray for him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy for his success, his well-being. He's been through some hard times.
Mm-hmm.
He went through really hard times as we were being raised. He took the brunt of a lot of it. I was 2 years older and the oldest, and I was sort of blazing my own trails, and I just kind of left my family behind because I felt like it left me behind. So,
well, you were never close with him.
No, and I wasn't close with certainly my mother and my father.
Or your sister.
But my brother and sister were very close.
Right.
God rest my sister's soul. We lost her to breast cancer. But I don't know.
Well, maybe one day you'll call him.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. We have very little in common, except we're brothers.
Yeah, so what?
And maybe that should be
Maybe you don't have to have anything
enough.
in common.
Next question.
We'll report back.
We will. This is at 321 Hero Time. Hey, Skip and Ernestine, I know you two love Jeopardy, but do you also love Family Feud?
Yeah.
Would you two ever go on Family Feud? If so, who would your 3 other family member teammates be?
Well, we talked about that. My mother loved Family Feud. She loved watching Steve Harvey with Family Feud. She would call me and say, I'm watching Family Feud. She loved it.
I loved Richard Dawson back in the day.
Richard Dawson was amazing.
Great.
Oh, my God. But then we said, we don't have enough family members
We
to
don't
go.
have
We
enough.
have to get people to come and be our family members. Hazel, my sister.
Thank you. You'd be good on
Joyce,
Family Feud.
Hazel,
Thank
and
you.
Skip.
Joyce.
And me.
And then what? I don't
And then
know.
we don't have any
another
other family members.
member. I don't know. We could ask my brother if he'd meet us, if he'd fly to LA.
Let's not bank on him
Yeah.
too much.
Then we might clash over the answers, right?
We don't have anybody else.
That's all we got. But
Get Tyler.
We like
Tyler's
Family Feud. We wouldn't watch it like Jeopardy because, I don't know, you can play Family Feud. I mean, it's
I
fun
like
to
the
play.
Saturday Night Lives when they do Family Feud.
They're
funny.
funny.
Kenan Thompson.
He's really funny.
But I do like Family Feud.
We're a little behind right now in Jeopardy, but we
have like 240 saved. So we have Jeopardies of Alex that we still haven't watched. We're keeping them in memory of Alex.
We are actually. Mike Miller asks, "What do you keep in the fridge?"
Oh, that's a crazy thing.
You're on.
It's
your question. What do you keep in the fridge?
Always
it's
in
your
the fridge. Yeah, it's my fridge. I own the kitchen, even though I don't cook. In the fridge, at any moment's notice, is Mountain Dew, your Propel.
Diet Mountain Dew.
Yeah, Diet Mountain Dew, your Propel, your red drinks. You drink those, what are those, ice drinks or whatever they're called? They're sparkling ice. I only drink water, and I drink Saratoga. And then we also
I drink
have
some Diet Snapple.
Diet
tea.
Snapple's in there. Yeah, Diet Snapple. So we have a lot of beverages, and then we also have at all times I have cheese. I have low-fat Swiss cheese. I have goat cheese,
cheese.
and I have mozzarella sticks, which I like. There's always matzahs. I keep everything in the refrigerator. When you live in New York City, you realize you cannot leave food in cabinets because there's always roaches around. So I always keep cans in my refrigerator. I keep everything in the refrigerator. So I have 2 cans of white albacore tuna in the refrigerator right now. I have matzahs because we eat matzahs. We don't eat crackers or cookies, so we eat matzahs with everything. We have whole wheat, unsalted matzahs. There's always a box. And I also keep oatmeal, Quaker Oats oatmeal, instant packs. I eat those for lunch sometimes with fruit, almond butter. What else do we have? I have cottage cheese.
I order my lunches and dinners.
He orders different food because we don't.
from a
he
food
don't
service,
cook, so he gets
it's
in there.
always
There's
like
always 2
sort of
meals in there.
chicken,
Yeah,
turkey,
chicken,
or
turkey or
salmon with rice and broccoli
right,
or
or
spinach.
green beans or
Yeah.
something.
And we just keep those. They come
Yeah, every day, two meals a day.
2 meals
So
a
he
day.
gets
so
his,
they're
and then
just
what
microwave.
else is there in there? I always have fruit. I have blueberries, blackberries, apples. I always have that in
Okay.
there. And then in the freezer
Who
part,
knew?
I have my lean cuisine
Yeah.
pizzas, which I
Yeah.
like, that have spinach and mushroom. And then I have the unwrapped Mexican bowl, which is
Okay.
really good. Those are by Steamers.
All right.
And we
Think you
have
covered
knishes, and bagels.
Bagels. And we get what we call tasty.
Oh yeah,
but
we get
it's
that. It's not tasty like New York
non-fat
City. It's just
frozen
this
yogurt
frozen yogurt, and we buy it and we put it in the
from
freezer.
the Big Chill.
Big Chill.
The famous place out
In
here
Brentwood.
in LA.
No.
Yeah. And
Westwood.
It's Westwood, yeah.
That's what's in our fridge.
This is at Keith
Next
Kramer.
week we'll do the cabinets.
Okay, we'll
even
do
though
the
there's nothing in
cabinets.
there.
I never open the
It's-
cabinet, so I don't know.
He doesn't barely opens the icebox.
I do. Is it refrigerator,
Refrigerator.
or icebox?
Well, icebox is
It's
like from
old?
1920s.
All
I'm
right.
not that old.
She's not.
Mm.
At Keith Kramer 8194. Speaking of,
Hazel needs a
she
channel.
knows. Hazel
Yeah.
needs a channel.
She does.
She's the star of this show,
She
says
is.
Keith. Maybe Ernestine can film Hazel on walks or at the mall. You should try that occasionally.
Yeah, I will.
just
I'll try to
see.
film her as she's about to go bite somebody.
She is a star, and she is a terror.
Yeah, she hates
Trust us.
everybody, but
When she goes off, she just
Yeah.
goes off. She is fearless. She is the warrior princess.
yeah, we'll film her.
But we love her.
Yeah,
Or maybe I love her too much. I don't know.
yeah, you do have a problem, but that's another show. The problem with Hazel and Skip. Okay.
Paige from Columbus, Ohio. Go Buckeyes.
Yep.
Would you ever
Rock.
consider getting a second dog so Hazel could have a brother or a sister?
Yes, I've thought about it.
She has thought about it many times. My fear about that would be this is such a diva dog. She is such the star of this household that I would fear how she would take or not take to a brother or a sister.
I think she would be okay. I really do.
I don't know. I think it could be a
I think
problem.
you would be afraid that because you'd have to give some attention to somebody else, and you just want to keep giving it to Hazel.
Yeah, but would she resent the attention you gave to the second dog? Would she be mean to
I
the
think
second
she'd have
dog?
fun
'Cause
with
she's
another
capable.
dog. Yeah, but I think she likes some dogs.
Yeah.
She does. She likes some dogs.
Yeah.
And she loves you.
She does. Maybe to a fault. This is from Facebook, Pat Westbrook. Well, this is not from Russell Westbrook.
Oh. well,
Ernestine is the brains of this operation.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would have to agree
appreciate
with
that.
Pat Westbrook.
I do think a lot.
And this is from Caitlin, not Clark, from Miami, Florida. What's the one argument that you had that you look back at and think, why in the world did we argue about that? I got a good answer to this.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even remember.
Okay. Always on Saturday afternoon or evening, we kind of put this show together for the next week. And we had a big fight that started off our rundown as we try to get our heads together. And it was just ridiculous. And you blew up. And
It
then
was ridiculous.
I blew
It was
up.
your
and
fault.
You started it, and I escalated
Yeah.
it. And it was just ridiculous because we just needed to get through it. And
Right. But you started it, so the thing is, if you start it, then you got to finish it.
This was
Yeah.
actually later Saturday night because I had a big game at
This is the real truth.
5:30
This is the real
time.
truth. His team lost, so he was so mad, and then he had to deal
My
with
team
me.
didn't just lose; it lost by 42
right. So that was
points.
the reason why. So it was all the anger and the frustration of his team losing.
Not true. I just wanted to get it over with.
No, but it was aimed to me.
We really do work hard on these shows. It may not ever show,
Well, it
but
does.
we
spent a whole Saturday night doing this.
We carefully choose the best questions, the best
Come
comments.
up with ideas
we
and
order
topics
them. We flesh out ideas. We talk through things just in case we're not completely comfortable with where we're going to go with the topic, and then the rest of it's extemporaneous. But we disagreed right from the start because I used the word debate. This is a good debate topic. We don't have to debate. And I said, yeah, we'd like to detonate the show right away with
but
something
I said, you don't have to. We could just talk.
That has some firepower to it.
Well, everything has firepower. You don't have to debate it.
So that was the
was
latest, and she blew up and left, and then
I went back in.
And then she came back in. And
it was all pointless. So that was the fight that was stupid.
And the final comment today, it's an Instagram comment from @James_Merrill, who says, Skip, get Ernestine some Jordans.
Oh.
I've got my Jordans on, if you can see
He's got
them.
Jordans on.
If you can see my Jordans.
This is what I have on.
Those
I have
are
Tigers.
ASICs. I used to run in ASICs like crazy. I probably had like 50 pair of ASICs.
But these are Tiger. These are not the regular ASICs. These are Tiger.
Shoes.
These are the Japanese,
Okay, but I'd be happy to buy you Jordans, but
they're
you
too
don't
heavy.
like
They're
Jordans. She
too
always says they're
heavy.
too heavy.
I don't
They're
need you to
not
buy
too
them for me.
heavy.
I can buy myself, but
They're
they're
not
too
too
heavy. I
You
don't
would
like
look-
heavy shoes.
But you have a good cool factor. This would make you even cooler.
I don't
Come
need
on.
Jordans to make me cool. I'm cool on my own.
They're not heavy like the.
I pick up his shoes. They're like
No, they're
Herman
not.
Munster shoes. And then he wears them and he's clodding along. I said,
I'm
why do
not-
you wear shoes that are so heavy?
I wear
he has to have the
Futures. If
look.
you know Jordan Futures,
I know, but
they're
they
much
don't make
lighter.
those for women.
I think they.
I don't think they do.
I'm gonna
I
have
can't
to
wear
look.
high tops. They cut my ankle. They're too like Converse. I love Converse sneakers, and the Converse high tops. I have to always wear thick socks around my ankles so they don't because they cut.
Ridiculous. You're just resisting. It's my thing. Jordans are my
I
thing,
like.
and you don't want my
I
thing
like.
on you.
I like ones. The ones. Is it ones? Not
They're
ons.
the
ons.
OGs.
Yeah, no, the
The
ons.
ones.
The ones.
Oh, you mean
Ons. I like the
not-
ons.
not
No,
Jordan
No,
ones.
not yours.
Oh.
The ons, the
Oh.
ON. I like those. I just bought a couple of pairs of those. I
She
haven't
buys
worn them
shoes
yet.
more than anybody in the history of.
No,
she's
Imelda
the Imelda
Marcos,
Marcos of this household,
Right.
of this city.
Right. I have a lot of shoes. I like shoes and handbags.
Yeah, pretty soon I'm going to open the door one day and shoes are just going to come piling out of the door.
Look who's talking.
because-
Jordan, Mr. Jordan Head.
Hey.
Jordan Head. He won't wear anything but
we're almost
Jordans.
finished.
I
Well, I don't.
care about
I don't
that.
wear anything but Jordans in my whole life. I just don't, except for my running shoes.
I wish you got a royalty from Michael Jordan for all
He
the
doesn't
Jordans you
need
wear.
to be giving.
He probably doesn't wear
royalties.
Jordans.
Yes, he does.
I don't know. I'm sure he wears other things. Didn't he do
probably
the
wears-
Skechers ads that time or no? He never
No
did
way.
Skechers.
Michael
Oh.
Jordan?
Ringo did. I
Oh,
like Skechers too.
Okay, all right.
They're good enough for Ringo, good enough for me.
And on that note, that's it for round 26.
26.
And we will see you next week if we're still speaking. And
Peace out.
hope so. She's got to do her
Peace out.